Hello and welcome to r/Ella. My name is Ella and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. And if you're not, don't worry, because I have found some Reddit stories that are definitely going to make you feel better about your own life. And I'm probably going to tear a few people to shreds. So keep watching if you like to see that. Okay, are you ready for the very first story? This is coming from the OKStorytime subreddit and it is just 28 days old as of reading this. It's titled, "He missed the birth of our daughter to be with his mistress. Now he wants me to adopt their baby." Bum, bum, bum. My husband, Tyler, 41 male of 14 years, is a huge fan of both this subreddit and podcast. So I'm writing this here so that he can really hear me. Background. I, 38 female, and Tyler met in high school. We started dating in my final year and stayed together through college before moving in together and getting married in our 20s. We have 3 children, 1 boy, 8 years old, 2 girls, 5 and 2 months old. Last night, our pretty wonderful lives got destroyed when Tyler came home visibly upset. He poured himself a drink, a large drink, and sat at our dining table with his head in his hands. I've never seen him like this. I put the kids to bed, fed the baby, and then went to talk to him. I wish I hadn't. I feel sick to my stomach. So he starts with how sorry he is that he missed Camille's birth. How odd. We talked about this. He'd been in Canada on business when she decided to make an early arrival. Except he wasn't. He was in Canada, but at the birth of his other daughter by his mistress, in brackets Emily, of 4 years. They were born less than 24 hours apart. I nearly threw up there and then, but I'd not long cleaned up from dinner, so I'm very glad I didn't. As if Tyler hadn't just burnt our entire family, he continued, "Emily is not okay. She can't care for the baby and she wants him to have her. She wants to give up all her parental rights so that we can raise the baby as Camille's twin." Through all of this, I hadn't said a word. I hadn't shed a single tear. But that was the straw that broke the metaphorical camel's back. I walked out and locked myself in the bathroom. Tyler knocked on the door about 15 minutes later, telling me he has the paperwork for me to sign to bring his daughter back to our home country, and he really needs me to sign it as soon as possible to get things moving. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand the affair. I thought we were happy. I feel numb, so freaking stupid. I'm walking around in a dream-like daze, hoping to wake up back before I knew any of it. We are pretty religious, and a divorce normally would never be an option. But how can I stay with this man? But if I leave and reject this baby, I'll be shunned from our entire community, as will our children. I feel sick and ashamed, and I have no idea what to do. Jesus. Wait, let me gather my thoughts. I think the first thing to point out, she brings up her community and religion. I think something so sad sometimes about communities that follow such strict but sometimes kind of vague guidelines is that it can sometimes become about putting on a show. It's not really about who is genuinely happy and living honest lives, but rather about who can look more like they're putting on the happy family facade, who can look like they are living honest lives, who is better at sweeping the crap under the rug, rather than who is actually living in their truth. Ooh, living in truth. Ruby Frankie. No, okay. That just, sorry. It can become so much more about putting on a show and looking like you have a happy family. And I think that almost always happens at the expense of women. You know, it becomes a lot about women sweeping men's infidelity or men's lies, or especially in this case, the absolute disrespect, betrayal, all of it, just to keep up this facade and maintain that man's character. Does that make sense? And if you don't keep up this facade, then you have always the fear of being shunned from everyone and everything you know. And I think that this man knows that, and he's using it. Look how easy it was for him to just come to her on a random Tuesday evening and be like, hey, yeah, by the way, I've been cheating on you for God knows how long. I have another child. I missed the birth of our child for this, and now I want you to take that child in. He just dropped that on her like a ton of bricks. And he didn't care because he has this safety net of the community. What he's asking of her is to take in an entire newborn when she has a whole other newborn and take care of both of them forever. You're doing double the newborn stage. You're doing double, the terrible twos, the teething, the teenage attitude. All you're just being forced to do double of all of it. And we can tell from this post alone that OP's husband works away for weeks or God knows how long at a time, and he's asking her practically. I mean, you can even see when he's home, right? She's the one. What did she say? Before any of this even happened, he came home sulking, and what did she do? I put the kids to bed, I fed the baby, and then I went to talk to him. You can tell already, even when he's home, she's doing the majority of the household labor. And then he's asking her, and on top of her doing the majority when he's home, he's also not home for weeks on end. And then he's asking her to take in a whole new child while she has a whole newborn already. It's just absolute, the audacity of it. And it's because he knows she's afraid of the social ramifications. She's afraid of being exiled from her community, everybody she knows, everything she knows. And he knows that. He feels like the community will keep her in line, and the social shame and the feeling of literal exile, like being exiled out of a community, is going to scare her so much that she will be willing to stay. She'll be willing to stay in a relationship where she is treated like that, where she is treated almost like a slave, somebody who puts in all of the work and raises the children, but is completely disrespected and has no kind of right or independence, like she is almost an extension of him. It feels he has no care at all about her actual feelings. I'm sure he would care if he thought that she would leave him. I'm sure he would care then, but it doesn't seem to me that he has any care for actually how this makes her feel. No empathy, just no empathy at all. He's almost acting like this is not, like he's not even giving her any time to like mentally catch up with the situation. This woman, as the world is collapsing on her, is like, I need to take a breather. I just need to leave. And she's locked herself in a room, a bathroom, a bedroom. I can't remember where it was. He's locked herself in a room just so she can just kind of like, I can imagine the walls are coming in on her, and she's just like trying to wrap her head around the information that she's just been told. Meanwhile, her husband is there. Babe, you need to sign these papers as soon as possible. We need to sign the papers like now. Pressuring her to sign these papers to take in a child that she never even met. And that whole situation in itself is dodgy to me. I mean, he's rushing it. Why is he rushing it? It could be that he's rushing it just so that OP doesn't have time to wrap her head around the situation, and they've got the child and that's it. He's not giving her enough time to think about it. But it could also be like something's going on with the mother. Why is the mother giving up full custody? Something's a bit strange there. I mean, unless she's got some kind of terminal illness or some kind of illness that means that she is genuinely unable to take care of her daughter forever, indefinitely. Why is she willing? It's not that, it's just quite unheard of that a mother would give birth, have their child for 2 months, and then decide they never want them ever again. Like, that's it, I'm done, I'm a bit ill, so have my kid forever with a woman I've never met. Of course, then you go down the route of like postpartum depression, or there could be something going on with the affair partner that obviously we just don't know what's going on there. But it's just such a strange situation in itself. Like, something just doesn't feel right about all that. And I wonder what papers he needs her to sign. The thing is that I don't know where they live, so I can't really look up the legalities of like, is it because they're married? So because they're married, then she has to like approve of the child, of them coming in, taking the child in. But surely if he's the dad, he can manage to get custody regardless of his wife. Somebody correct me on that, because there's just something I don't understand about that. Also, just the fact that the mother's giving up full custody, also just, unless she's like got some kind of terminal illness where there's just no world where she could take care of the child, it seems just so fishy to me that a child is 2 months old and the mother is like willing to give up full custody for indefinitely. It seems like it's just something so strange about that as well. I think ultimately OP has 2 options in this situation. She can struggle a lot. She can leave her community, everything she's ever known, struggle financially, and hopefully eventually build something comfortable. She'd have to go through a lot, but hopefully she would end up in a place where she can live an honest life, where she doesn't have to pretend like her husband isn't going on business trips and making babies all around the world, where she doesn't have to pretend like she birthed 2 children. She doesn't have to answer the questions of, well, why did I only see one of them for the first 2 months? And she doesn't have to sob every night when he's away, knowing he's probably with somebody else doing only the Lord knows what. Maybe she'd actually be able to experience love from somebody who genuinely cares about her. But it would be hard, so hard. That first step, those first days, those first months, maybe even that first year would be so difficult. She would have to grind so hard to get the life that she wanted, to be comfortable, and that's not fair, but that's the reality of it. Or she can stay where she is now, where she's kind of comfortable. She still has a life and a community and the home that she's known to love and the husband that she's always had. But now she just sees the whole truth and has to hide that truth from everyone else around her in order to stay in good standing in the community. I know which one I would choose. None of it is easy. But I always think that doing the hard thing first to make a better life is always the right choice. Deciding to stay where things are easy but they're never going to improve is difficult. And I know that for some people, their emotions switch off when they find something like this out about their partners, that they can walk away with no problem because they just see their partner as a different person. But I also know that leaving isn't easy, and even when you find something like this out, and even when someone is this cold, the past, the life that you've built together will still live within you, and it will be heartbreaking to walk away. But I pray that she does. I pray that that is what happens here, that she decides that she's worth more than that and she can stick up for herself, and that it's okay to walk away alone, because if you can't be honest with people, if you can't tell them what's going on in your life and have them support you, you don't really have anyone anyway. And it's so much better to go out and true, honest self and be able to be, I like to, live with honesty, live vulnerably, and then hopefully you find the right people rather than trying to fit the mold of the people that are already in your life. When you know if they knew the extent of everything and if you did what was right for you, they wouldn't be there for you anymore. Those aren't the right people for you. And I hope that OP finds the courage to do that. And I think we're going to find out because there is an update. I still don't feel like any of this is real. I don't know when it will hit me, but the more I learn, the more I feel detached from the whole thing. Like I'm watching it through a lens. Today I dropped off our children at the school and the baby to my in-laws and returned home to talk to my husband. We talked for hours. I told him I needed the truth, all of it. I don't think I've ever known this man. Tyler strongly believes he's doing nothing wrong. He's not married to anyone in these countries where he works. To those of you that have said that Emily might not be the only one, gold stars. There are several other women, some past, some present, and even another child who is 13 years old. I went to collect our baby after asking him to pack a bag and be gone before I got back. I need time to think, but my in-laws knew the second I arrived something was very wrong. I broke down and told them everything. Mother-in-law is defending him, saying he's made a mistake, we were young when we got married, and that babies are a blessing wherever they come from. Father-in-law is raging, however. He tried to tell his wife that no matter how she tried, he was indefensible. Father-in-law is a lawyer and immediately jumped into action. He's signing over a portion of the family trust so that I can support myself and the children. It's more than generous and will be needed as I'm not getting a divorce. He thinks that given the information that we have, I can apply for an annulment. That way, my standing is intact and I can move on without the stigma of divorce. So, Tyler, if you're reading this, I want an annulment. And I already hope you've read the comments. Some people have really captured your essence in describing you. I'm not sure if there will be another update, but I thank you so much to all of you for being my sounding board and supporting me. Wow. Okay, first off, I am so happy for OP that she gets to leave this absolute wretched man and keep her standing in her community. It's really sad to think that there are people out there that really have to tussle with leaving such a toxic, and honestly, I don't know, obviously I don't want to throw the word abuse around. I'm not sure if it falls under that category, but it feels so okay. I think that staying in a relationship like that is a form of self-harm. It's so harmful. So that man had no care for her. And it's so sad to think that people have to reckon with themselves on whether they want to pick themselves up and leave a situation like that. I just want to mention one thing. I don't know what the guy means by I'm not married in the other countries. That's not really a thing. You can't go from one country to the next and be unmarried. That's wrong, both logically and emotionally. Okay? If I got married to my boyfriend and then I went on holiday where we're technically not married anymore, I'm not going to, sleep with other people because it's not about the piece of paper to me. It's not about being right in the eyes of the legal system or being right in the eyes of God. It's about doing right for my husband. We are marrying each other not to say you can't sleep with anyone else, but that's an act of like, hey, I love you and I'm saying that I'm going to be with you for forever. It is not the only thread that's stopping me from sleeping with somebody else. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm legally married, so I'm not going to, do you understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? That's stupid logic. And then second, that's not even true. If you are married, say in the United States, you're still married in Canada. The only way that makes sense is if your marriage is not recognized in another place. For example, there is an age limit in many countries to where you can get married. In some countries, there is no age limit. And so if you marry someone who is underage who is of age in one country, but underage in the next country, when you go to the next country, your marriage is not recognized. Same with same-sex marriage. If you get married in a country where same-sex marriage is legal and recognized, you are legally married in that country. But if you go somewhere like the Philippines, if you go somewhere like the Philippines, your marriage is no longer recognized because they don't recognize same-sex marriage as legally binding. So, which is, from what I can see, none of that is the case. So that doesn't make any sense for the story. If he is married in one place, he is very much married in another country. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I cannot think of an example of any other country where that's not, where your marriage would not be recognized. So maybe someone had told him that, or maybe he's just lying to make OP feel like she would not be able to get something like an annulment because her cheating wouldn't be recognized because it was in a different country, or like it wouldn't be recognized as against their religion because they're not legally married in the other country, or in the eyes of God, whatever. But it's just simply not true. He was married in all countries. Unless there's something I'm missing, but I don't think there is. And the mother-in-law downplaying, absolutely babies are amazing from everywhere, from wherever they come from. Yeah, but I don't want the affair baby. I don't want to raise an affair baby. I just don't. Well, I don't know. Actually, that was too cut and dry. Okay, there are situations where I see that, you can get through that. But I think regardless, okay, yes, babies are, it's not children's fault, and babies are amazing wherever they come from. There's nothing wrong with the child itself. But I think that the mother-in-law downplaying the severity of the situation, or how that would feel for OP, saying like, oh, he just made a mistake. First of all, he's got multiple children in multiple countries, okay? But no, I can't make that joke. Just put a ball cap on him and put him on a song with Kesha, because that is Mr. Worldwide, and he's getting his fireballs out for everybody. He's getting his fireballs out all around the world. No, okay. And I can't really tell with the mother-in-law whether it's like, oh, my blue-eyed boy could never do any wrong, if she's like downplaying it for that reason, or if it's like, hey, this can't get out because I don't want to be exiled from this community either. So she's like downplaying what her son did, and then she's just like, leave it. You guys stay together. It'll be fine. Please don't embarrass me in front of my church friends. I don't know which one it is. You let me know what you think. But I think we should definitely give a round of applause for the father-in-law for just absolutely stepping in, holding his son accountable for his actions, for one, and helping OP get out of the situation, both financially and legally and socially. He really came in and saved the day for OP, and that's, a lot of the in-laws, they don't help like that. It's their kid first, and nothing else. That was a huge burp. This second story is coming from Best of Redditor Updates. So, spoiler, there's probably going to be an update. Are you ready? The original post is coming from r/am I the asshole, and it is titled, Am I the asshole for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding? Bum, bum, bum. For context, I have been married to my husband for over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids are Adam, stepkid, 28, Ben, 26, stepkid, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. So they have 3 kids together and she has 2 stepchildren. Adam is getting married at the end of the summer to his fiancée, Alice, 27. We have all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles for the wedding. Charles is the best man, the other 2 boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a junior bridesmaid. Last weekend, we had a dinner for my husband's birthday. All of the kids attended along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought up that she was so excited to go dress shopping and that we planned to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress, and me and stepmom of the groom a dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What are you expecting mum to wear, a suit?" Alice responded with, "My name isn't going. You know we are only keeping our guest list very limited to only family and a few close friends." What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since being engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly, things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed the latter. Why? Adam said it's because I'm not his mom. Charles, David, and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited. That it was cruel to leave me out, given that I've been his parent for the majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I admittedly sat there for a minute, just shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, "Well?" My husband told him he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me and asked if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might have been the asshole. I just laughed. I don't know what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing I could get out. I told my husband I'd be waiting in the car and left, and then promptly pulled my eyes out. Anyways, Charles, David, and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try and smooth things over. He was still adamant I'm not invited and it's their wedding. He also requested that I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him, "Tough shit. It's their wedding and they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually go." He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking what the fuck I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. Am I an asshole? Oh, no. Am I the asshole? Go on, Ella. No, I would say you're not the asshole. What the? No, I would say you're absolutely not the asshole. I would also say something fishy is going on. I feel like a few people will be thinking this right now. Where is Adam's mum? Who is Adam's mum? And does she have anything to do with this? That's my first thought. Is like, how did they get together? Was it an affair? Is the mum in the picture? And if she is, what type of person is she? I just usually have a lot of opinions. For this post, I have a lot of questions. A few of my questions were answered, like, she was in Adam's life since he was, let's have a look. So they've been married for 20 years and Adam is 28. So since 8. Does she say since 8? I'm sure she said it at some point, but since 8 years old. That is a very young age. Unless stepmom, it's stepmom writing this post. So we don't know. She could be not very nice lady. And if that's the case, that is the only thing that makes sense, that she's just a very horrible person. But the fact that everybody's like, well, if she's not going, I'm not going, kind of gives me the impression that that's not the case. she hasn't mentioned any fights, any arguments, anything that's happened between them throughout the years, that they haven't had a very good relationship. It just seems to me that OP is like, this has come completely out of the blue, and I'm gobsmacked. I'm so confused. And unless OP is just like an extremely unaware person, something else is going on. Whose kids? Right, who's sticking up for her? Let's have a look. Right, it says here, Charles, David and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice. So Charles, David and Ellie are OP's kids. So I don't see them saying that Ben, who is her other stepchild, is sticking up for her, which makes, it's like, okay, so it's her kids that are sticking up for her. Okay, let's get into some of the comments. Okay, OP is very, very active in the comments. Commenter says, I feel like there's a lot missing here. Yeah, me too, girl. You've been married to his dad since he was 8. That was years of elementary, middle school, high school, college, 20 years. Is his mother living? Did his fiance influence him? Just seems odd to not invite his dad's wife of 20 years and call her not family. Do you know what? They did say you're not family, but also they said that they're inviting family and close friends. They don't even consider her a close friend. Just seems odd to invite his dad's wife of 20 years and call her not family. I don't think you're the asshole, but I just want to know more about the past 20 years. Then OP says, I'm sorry. I had to cut out a lot of the character count for the post. When Adam called, my husband did ask if I had done something, if it was related to Biomum. And then in brackets, she has never gotten along with us. If I had overstepped in any way, Adam says, no, it's just they want family only. Stepdad is invited as far as we know. So they're saying that they want family only, that that the stepmom has done nothing wrong. OP's done nothing wrong. It's just like, we just want family. But then the stepdad is invited. So the biomum's husband is invited. I was a stay-at-home mum for most of my stepkids' childhood, and we had 50-50. My husband has always worked a lot, but has been as involved as possible. The house and children rearing mostly fell to me though. I love our kids to pieces. I thought we made it clear from the beginning that I am/was another parent that loves them, not a replacement mum. We've never had any issues, and I thought up until now that we were particularly close. Our communication has slowed since he met Alice, but he was calling me about once or twice a week prior to this. Alice and I have gone shopping on occasion, gotten lunch. I even went with her to the florist for the wedding because her mum wasn't available and Adam got called into work. There has to be something or someone causing an issue, and my husband and I are baffled. Yeah, I agree. There has to be something else going on. I think the fact that they're saying that stepmom has done nothing is more hurtful than if she'd done something to upset them, because he's basically being like, no, I've just never ever seen you as family. And she's like, I was a stay-at-home mum, like I did a lot of the childcare. And it just must be so hurtful to raise a child as your own and then have them be like, I don't even see you as like a distant family member, like you are not invited to my wedding. I don't understand, you know what I mean? And it's not even like you've upset me, it's just like, what are you on about? We're not family. That's just so hurtful. Another commenter says, is mum invited? OP. Yes, as far as we've heard, stepdad is also invited. We, in brackets, my husband and I, have never gotten along with mum, but still play nice as we still have 50-50 of the younger stepson. The younger stepson, he's older now, he's in his 20s. Adam and his mother had a falling out a few years ago as she was starting to treat him the way she always treated her husband and I. That is, poorly. I don't know how to nicely explain other than she's a narcissist. Okay. Mother's a narcissist, so... I'm guessing there's got to be some kind of jealousy towards stepmom. Even if they broke up all fine, I feel like narcissists don't take very kindly to their exes getting with someone new. Even if they ended it, even if they're not interested in their ex, they don't like it. Adam hasn't wanted to talk about it much, and we won't push it. I know they talk and visit, but how close they are, I have no idea. And then some comments that OP's put about having custody of Ben at 26. Yes, he is disabled. He can choose where he is staying as he likes, but mostly sticks to 50-50 schedule. But mostly sticks to a 50-50 schedule still, unless there is a family event or vacation. He is pretty independent, but not able to live on his own. Guardianship is probably a better work for what we have now instead of custody. Oh, better word, not better work. Did she say better work? Yeah, she means better word for what we have now instead of custody. A commenter says, absolutely not the asshole. Assuming you and Adam have gotten along fine until now, it's absolutely wild that they wouldn't invite you. Only family and a few close friends? When a step-parent literally counts as family, and the nerve to accuse you of ruining his wedding, I don't blame you for laughing. OOP says, it's probably also relevant, but my husband's parents are long since deceased. My parents, dad, stepmom, and mum have been very involved with all the kids since they were little. They are also not going, since if I am not family, they aren't either. My brother and sister-in-law, their daughter, my cousin, in brackets, they call him uncle, and several of my family members that have been around since stepkids were little have also dropped. They are up to like 20 people. They have rescinded their yes RSVPs for a wedding of maybe 60 people. So Adam and Alice have lost 20 of their guests because for some wild reason they consider the stepmom OP's parents, siblings and cousins as family members, but not OP, not their stepmom. Obviously something fishy is going on. That's obviously not how they actually feel. So either somebody is in their ear or something's happened, or they have some kind of grudge, like they're doing it on purpose to upset OP. It can't be. It just doesn't make sense that they would consider those people family and not OP. So somebody's commented, wait, hold up. Your family was invited, but not you. Then what the hell did Adam expect when it came out you're not invited? And OP says, that's my family's take. Why are they invited but I'm not? They aren't related to my stepkids by blood either, but apparently are family. To be fair, my family is larger than my husband's, stepdads and biomums. My stepkids were the first grandkids on my side. They were not with biomum and dad's families, and were absolutely spoiled rotten growing up. Charles is now supposed to meet Adam for coffee over the weekend. I've warned him that truly I don't think it's coming from Adam, and to try calm down about it. Okay. I know that this is best of Reddit updates, but I was just going to say I smell an update coming. Okay. Commenter info. What is the nature of... Commenter. Another commenter says, info. What is the nature of your relationship with Adam? Is his mother in the picture? Could his fiance be in his ear? OP says, I thought that we were particularly close. Besides the normal teenager, I don't have to listen to you BS phase. We have never fought. We've always had him and Ben 50-50 as a teen, and he's butted heads with his mother. There have been several times over the years where Adam has come to my husband and I and asked questions from things his mum has said, but we've always been forthcoming with info. For an example, his mother called me a homewrecker. This upset Adam. Adam came pissed at us. We explained that no, bio mum and dad were long since broken up, and mum even had a fiance who was not current stepdad when I met dad. I pulled receipts. Adam was upset with mum. Blew over and on to the next thing. We still deal with bio mum though, and I do have a hard time believing she'd pull something at this point. Oh, you do have a hard time. She's put, we still deal with bio-mum though, and I do have a hard time believing that she'd pull something like this at this point. Alice and I aren't super close, but I thought we had a good relationship. I had always tried to include her. Sometimes she takes up my offer and sometimes she doesn't. I know she sees bio-mum quite a bit and that side of Adam's family too. She was raised by her grandparents and does not talk about her bio parents often. And then a commenter says, how did Ben react to this? At this point, I would not go to the wedding and I would block his future wife. They would have to grovel in order to go. They made it clear they don't want to see you as family, so you don't need to do anything for them going forward. Then OOP says, Ben was very upset and confused. He was autistic, so what we were arguing about doesn't quite click. But he's mostly upset that Adam said I'm not their parent and that his siblings are all fighting. We've sat him down since and explained that I love him dearly and will never go anywhere. All of us love Adam and are just hurt, and that he himself can choose to go to the wedding or not. He doesn't have to choose sides. We will still love him if he goes, in brackets, honestly, he probably will. He loves cake and dancing, lol. He seems to be doing just fine. He hasn't asked about Adam, but he will go to his mum's tomorrow and probably see him there. More info on everyone's relationships. It was hard to include every bit of context in the post because of the character limit, but I quit my job when Charles was 6 months. Adam would have been 8, almost 9. No affair. I met my husband when he'd been divorced for over a year. Bio-mum was engaged to someone else. If you ask their bio-mum, she'll say I've always overstepped. If you ask her how, she'll give examples like I went to school events, in brackets, so did stepdad. I helped with homework. I spent too much time with them. She would thank me for loving her kids so much and then turn around and berate my husband for me loving kids that aren't his too much. Another example is that in the beginning, she wanted to communicate with me directly more. Said she loved the communication and that I was easier to deal with than my husband. Next argument with my husband, she brought up that I was weird and too involved and she shouldn't have to talk to me whatsoever. I haven't talked to her since. Periodically, she has brought up that I was easier to talk to and she doesn't understand why communication just has to go through my husband. After several years of trying to appease her, we quit to just focus on keeping our family happy and supported. It's been 23 years of dealing with her. I've been to therapy multiple times to resolve whatever issues she says I have. It did help with strategies to deal with her. Truly, it's just that she has mental issues. Okay, so this is the last comment that we're going to read. Thank you for your thoughtful comment. Adam will always be my first son, whether he thinks of me as his mum or not. I thought we had been pretty clear throughout the years that I love him, regardless of what he thinks of me, and that my involvement extends to whatever he wants of me. Apart from some negotiable things like mostly safety things, chores his dad has agreed upon when I've asked, that kind of thing. I couldn't get in with my therapist this week, but I do have an appointment next week, and we will try to formulate a well thought out response back. I am certainly not a perfect person or parent, but I won't intentionally sabotage him any further. I do love a good revenge story, but that's not it when it comes to my kids. I've talked to the youngest 3 and they have reassured me that it's their choice whether or not they go, and I won't punish them on that. I have been reminding them that he is still their brother and it doesn't sound like him. Mostly for Charles, he is very outspoken and protective. Charles is supposed to meet with him this weekend and I'm hoping we'll get some clearer answers from that. Well, we got a lot of information in the comments. First of all, that bio-mum is involved in Adam's life, that he is close to Alice. So my speculation is it's something to do with that, especially because, as we've learned from the comments, OP has been in Adam's life since he was 8. She was a stay-at-home mum and she treated him like her own child. I mean, her own family, who he has invited to the wedding, treated him like their family. Like it goes further than OP. Her whole family saw them as her children in a way, as the first grandchildren in their family. So for Adam and Alice to decide that she isn't family, something obviously is going on that we're not seeing or hearing about. It could be some resentment towards OP from Adam that we don't know about. But my guess is it has something to do with the bio mum. The fact that she'd lied in the past about like saying that OP and her husband got together from an affair against Adam's bio mum, when that was not the case, that she just kind of made that up and told Adam that as a young teenager, obviously makes me think that the bio mum is trying to create a narrative around OP that she is a certain type of person that she's not. And have you ever met those kind of people? The kind of people that have it out for someone and they will spend hours talking to you. I've had people talk me around on people. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize they were so terrible. I've known this person for so long and I didn't realize they were so horrible. And then when you step out that bubble, you're like, oh my God, none of that was true. And that person is not horrible. Of course they're not. I've known them. And I'm not. I know some people might think, well, how do you know? But you know, some things start to make sense. And you're like, wait, that didn't happen like that. And those dates don't really line up. And you just start to realize, oh my God, I've just been brainwashed. And maybe bio mum is brainwashing Alice. You know, maybe because stepmom isn't so close to Alice and Alice is quite close to bio mum. It could be the case that bio mum is turning Alice against OP. But I'd say to that, Adam knows what bio mum is like. He knows that she said those lies to him as a child and that he came to learn that they weren't true. So why would he allow Alice to be brainwashed in that way? Regardless of what it is, it's so upsetting for OP, the way that they're going about it. They're not saying you've upset us or we don't like something you've done. They're just kind of being like, well, Adam's kind of being like, what? What's the problem? We've never been family. You've never meant that to me. Is this news to you? Why are you acting like this is a strange thing that you're not coming to my wedding? I've never thought of you as family. How upsetting. Someone that you've thought of as your first child. You've gone on to have other kids, but you will see this little boy as your first child. You introduced him to your family as your first child. You've been the stay-at-home mum. You've taken care of him when he's sick and taken him to school when he needs it. And you've done everything for him just as you would any of your other children from the age of 8. That's 20 years. And then for that person to turn around and say, what? I've never thought of you as family. It's not a fallout. Nothing's changed. It's just, I've never thought of you that way. Now, I don't believe that Adam feels that way or that that's the situation that's going on, but to hear that must be so painful. Anyway, let's find out what is going on and get into this update. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post. Most of you were kind and offered good advice. No, offered good advice, not a good advice. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post. Most of you were kind and offered good advice. I appreciate it. Before I give an update, I want to answer a few frequently asked questions. Okay, I'm just going to speed round through this because we've already gone through it. She's just clarifying that she was never an affair partner and that Ben was at the dinner. He is autistic and it was very upsetting for him to hear Adam claim that stepmom is not family and for the siblings to be upset at each other. Okay. Anyways, the update. The short of it is, if you guessed it was related to biomum, you were correct. Ding, ding, ding. I didn't want this to be the case. Adam rescheduled with Charles for Monday, citing Easter weekend. Fair enough. He also texted my husband to let him know that him and Alice would be doing Easter with her parents. We expected that. At some point on Sunday, Ellie texted Alice. I'm not sure what exactly was said, but it prompted Alice to spill everything that was going on with her parents. I have met them a few times, but they live a few hours away. They encouraged her and Adam to reach out to us to clear everything up. That was written a bit strangely, so if you didn't understand what was being said, basically, the youngest daughter, Emily, texted Alice, which caused some kind of emotional reaction. And then Alice ended up telling her own parents everything that was going on, and her parents prompted her to come forward to OP and tell her what had been going on. Monday, we dropped Ben off to BioMum's. He stayed an extra night for Easter fun. A few hours later, she began to blow up my husband's phone, as Ben mentioned the fight. My husband answered one call in which she was screaming and promptly hung up. He texted her that the siblings argued, everything is fine, and that if Ben has any further questions, we will talk about it when he's back with us. From some of the things she texted, we knew she was the root of all of this. Monday, Adam also met up with Charles, and he did come clean. Charles texted us to see if it was okay if they came over after, and we said yes. I'm not going to lie, Adam looked a mess. He immediately began crying and apologising. The short and sweet is that he's been trying to mend bridges with BioMum. Their wedding isn't 60 people, it's blown up to about double that, and they have been struggling to figure out how to pay for it. At one of their visits, Alice let it slip and BioMum jumped to help to pay for things. It slowly snowballed from there. From small requests to big requests. I'm not sure what the final nail in the coffin was, but it ended with BioMum requesting I not be there. Adam said it was easier to hurt me than risk World War III with his mum. Alice's parents were less than pleased to find out how they've been with the wedding budget, and even less so at BioMum's antics. They are trying to figure out how to start covering the payments to BioMum that BioMum has made. We've decided to help with some of this. Adam also asked if we could meet again in a few days with Alice, and we've said yes. There is a lot of ground to cover for this to be close to mended. I'm still hurt, but mostly I'm angry on behalf of my eldest son. How angry on behalf of your eldest son? So what you're saying is... Angry on behalf of your eldest son. So what you're saying is you're angry for him at BioMum. I think that's letting him off too easy, to be honest. I would be so hurt by this. Because how could you let this happen? I can't wrap my head around it so much. I understand, right, so you owe him money, but why does that mean that you have to be so mean to your BioMum? And like, there was no need to be so mean to say you're not family to me and you never were. That's unnecessary. You could have been like, to act like it's just not a big deal, like you just don't care about her. It's just so cruel. You first of all could have told your stepmom what was going on. My BioMum is helping us pay for the wedding. She doesn't want you to come. Hurtful, but a lot less hurtful. I know I'm guessing that they didn't want to tell people what was going on, but I just still don't. It was just so cruel. And I just don't, how you can just be like, oh, I'm so angry on behalf of him. It just doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand it myself. I don't know. It's just so thoughtless. And so selfish. Like you're like, oh, we're in this situation, and they feel, they're old enough to know not to hurt someone's, they're not 15. To hurt someone's feelings like that is so self-centered, the way that they're thinking. You should have just come clean and not put your stepmom through that. Maybe I'm in the wrong for saying that, but I just feel like they were being extremely immature with that situation. And hurting somebody who was there for them, who cared for him all of his life and loved him, and he just threw her under the bus the minute things got hard. Well, you're not even really family, so it doesn't matter. You don't need to come to my wedding. Didn't even fight for her to his own, to the BioMum, and said no. She doesn't come. I don't want. I would rather have the other 119, or let's say 20 of them are close family members, so the other 100 people at my wedding that I didn't even plan on inviting, I need to pay to make sure that they can come. But one of the people who is closest to me, I'll uninvite her. How does that make any sense? And I'll tell her she doesn't mean anything to me and that's why she's not coming. It's just cruel. But okay, I digress. There is another update. From 1.5 months later, final update. It's been a while, but I have an update. To catch everyone up really quickly, Adam came over to have a convo with us after talking to Charles. He's been reconnecting with his mother over the last year, and she's the real root of everything. It started with small requests as they got closer. Then she's paying for things at the wedding and escalated to me being uninvited. About a week after that, Adam and Alice came over for another convo. Husband and I read through all of your comments and already had a game plan. We explained that we love them to bits and forgive them. This is still a big mess up and they need to hold themselves accountable. For one, the mess with BioMum, and two, how they treated me. It wasn't just about the dinner. It was also about the months they allowed ex-wife to shit talk me to them. Yeah, exactly. We would not be bailing them out financially for this. I haven't pried into too many of the details, but Adam had talked to his mother. She was calm and agreed to everything he said, in brackets, suspicious. Mostly that they will not exclude me from the future events or tolerate any unkind words about me moving forward. Him and Alice cancelled their wedding. They got back a good portion of their money and mostly to pay back BioMum. When he tried to drop off a check to her, she absolutely lost it. Adam hasn't wanted to talk much about the things that were said, but he has told us they are currently no contact. I won't say the exact date, but Adam and Alice asked us all to meet for dinner. We got there and Alice's parents and siblings were there too. It wasn't just dinner. They eloped. We got to go to the courthouse with them and then celebrate with them after. They seemed so happy. 3 days later, Hubs was at work and I was coming home from errands when I got a very panicked call from Ellie. Ex-wife was outside pounding on our door and screaming her head off. I gave Ellie instructions and then called 911. I then called my husband. When I got there, ex-wife was already detained. She hadn't broken in, but she had damaged the outside of our door and the siding surrounding it. She was still screaming. The stuff she was saying was absolutely vile. Most of the reason I haven't wanted to update. It was everything from that she hates me and it's my fault Adam won't talk to her to stealing my kids from me won't replace the ones you lost. After that comment, I tuned out the rest until she was placed in the back of the cop car. It's important context, but we've had several miscarriages, one of which I know ex-wife knew about. What I really think she was getting at is the baby we had in between David and Ellie, who was full term and stillborn. I still don't understand how anyone could say something so awful and carry so much hate. Putting it out there. Oh, that's going to make me cry. Wait. That's so sad. Wait. That's so sad. Putting it out there is hard, and honestly, I don't have much comment on it other than I'm lucky to have the husband I do. Some of the charges we declined to pursue, some the PD will be pursuing regardless if we ask them to or not. She's already bailed out, but our restraining order has been granted pending a court date with the judge. From the bits and pieces we hear, ex-wife's family has put her on lockdown. Her brother works for the department that arrested her, so this has been quite the talk of the town. We have not heard from her since, and her mother has told my husband we absolutely won't be hearing from her or having any other issues. We have been doing exchanges for Ben with stepdad. And that is the end of that story. Oh, what a ride. That was... Oh my god, that was intense. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't go so harsh on Adam and Alice because the stepmom sounds like a real piece of work. And it sounds like she did put them in that position maybe. I think OOP just sounds like a lovely person, genuinely, which I know you only ever hear the one side of the story, but I feel like you can kind of tell by the way people are writing, and she just sounds so caring, and I really hope that I'm glad that she's already in therapy. And honestly, I think Adam and Alice Adam especially should go get some therapy, because BioMum sounds very manipulative and not afraid to cross any line, as long as it hurts. And obviously, I think she's just very, very jealous of OP. I think that maybe she's jealous of the role she has in her kids' lives and the relationship she has with her husband. And even though it's not the life she wanted, clearly, maybe it is. She just wants what she can't have, as well as everything else. She wants her cake and eat it too, as I like to say. That's it for today's Reddit stories. Thank you so much for sticking along. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on and on. Tell me what you thought of the stories and leave a little lemon at the end of your comment, and I'll know you made it all the way to the end, and I will definitely reply and like your comment. Reply to and like your comment. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on Friday.